what's happening, guys? Hopefully everyone is doing well. When we're thinking about the comfort crisis, we're thinking about all the conveniences that have been amazingly invented by so many incredible minds. It is mind-boggling what they've been able to do over the past couple hundred years, and especially the past 50 years. The problem is, it's just like when you take a wild animal and put it in a zoo, and it gets used to this comfortable life of being fed by human beings and just having a small little area where it doesn't have to really defend itself, doesn't have to hunt, doesn't have to really get too uncomfortable. You put that animal back in the wild, good luck. That animal has children, good luck to them as well, because the genetics are passed through. You expose a living being to an environment for long enough, then it even starts to influence the behaviors of its children and its grandchildren. Scientific evidence of this is all around. Look up epigenetics and you will see. So you're going to have different challenges depending on what type of background you come from. Not everyone is created equal in that sense. However, according to the Vedas, we are all eternal spiritual beings. We are not this body. We're utilizing this body as a vehicle. This body and mind are made of matter, but the living being within is spiritual in essence. These are very profound points that you can find in the ancient Vedic texts. Like we mentioned before, the Sri Upanishad, the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. These are some of the key ones to study if you want to make more and more spiritual advancement. So going back to the comfort crisis, according to the Vedas, you should engage in sacrifices and austerities. And what are these? They have certain days where they fast. They have a certain type of diet. They wake up early in the morning. They engage in all kinds of different activities that aren't necessarily pleasing to the senses. They're not necessarily comfortable or pleasurable, because you're sacrificing that momentary comfort for a much deeper gain in the future. And like we said so many times, that pays you dividends. What does it mean? When you go and invest in a company that's successful, you don't have to do anything. And that company potentially can pay you dividends for months and years. Similarly, you develop an amazing character, a fit body, a sharp mind. These are tools that will serve you whenever you go out and try to accomplish things that you want to accomplish. That's one of the amazing benefits about it. You're stronger and more resilient. Often you become anti-fragile. That means when you get pressured, you actually become stronger. Not just that you are strong, but you become stronger from the pressure. So we have to artificially make ourselves uncomfortable to become stronger if our environment is too comfortable in order to build that strength. So I'm going on these walks, 20,000 steps, keeping the cellular structures, the molecular structures throughout the body running nicely. When I started my walk today, this beautiful walk, I'm here on the west side of Oahu, I didn't want to do it. I was a little bit lethargic. But I knew that I had committed to 20,000 steps, and if I'm not intentionally working at this throughout the day, I'm not going to get anywhere near 20,000. I'll get 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 maybe, but I got to work at it. I basically go on these walks, and eventually, not always, but eventually I actually start feeling better. It's kind of like an old car. It requires a little bit of work to get it started, but once it starts running, then it can run for a little while, can run smooth for a little while. So sometimes as your body gets a little bit older, or if you haven't treated it with care and love and respect, then you may have to suffer a bit when it's first getting started. You may not just bounce out of bed, but that's the way it is. Each one of you, each individual is going to have a different level. And even the best of the best, as far as I understand, they still have their challenges. And sometimes it's simply, if you are just doing an amazing job on all levels and you've been doing it for a while, you may still sometimes feel down or lethargic or lazy or unmotivated or whatever. And that's the challenge that you're given, so that you don't just always coast. You always remember where you came from, and you always remember the plan. The plan is, even if you don't feel like it, you work on yourself. Because if you only do it when you feel like it, you're most likely not going to be doing it much. And if you're not going to be doing it much, then you're not going to be feeling like it much. It's going to be a downward spiral. Get up and do your meditation. Get up and do your greeting the sun, the beautiful sunshine and the fresh air. Drinking your water, getting hydrated. Moving the body. Working on all of your relationships, treating your wife or your husband or girlfriend or boyfriend with respect, your kids and your boss and your employees and your team, and you're all the living beings, treating them with respect and love. How can you not flourish? If you look at the book, Man's Search for Meaning, amazing. This individual is going through some of the hardest times a human being can possibly go through, and still has this amazing outlook. That internal state is superior to what's happening externally. Why are you doing what you're doing? You have a good enough reason to do something, that's when you can accomplish so many things. So start searching for these reasons why to get out of bed early, get outside, why to increase your financial stability. Find deep reasons why to become more spiritually advanced and enter into those more enlightened states. Find some very deep reasons why you would like to help others. How are you going to be able to help anyone if your consciousness is so low you can't even do anything for yourself? That's why we got to work on ourselves. Of course, we can simultaneously be working to help others. It's a two-pronged approach. Trying to give wisdom that I've been gifted, that I've been taught through these videos. Just simple, basic wisdom. We'll go deeper later, but I'm trying to lay down a foundation of the things that I truly understand and I'm currently practicing. It's easy for me to articulate these things because I practice them on a daily basis. And when you practice these things, when you're in this higher vibrational state, then you're like a channel, you're a conduit for better and better information. You're not going to be able to understand calculus in kindergarten. You haven't built the foundation of being able to understand these higher concepts. It says that in the Vedas as well. It starts in the basics. You can pick up the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3. It progresses into more and more advanced knowledge. Once you've understood that scripture well enough, you can progress into the Srimad Bhagavatam, and that's a lifetime of study. It's such a massive book that goes so deep. Everything in spiritual life is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Been studying it for years, but how much have I acted upon it? It's like an armchair philosopher. He's not taking what he's learned and putting it into action. You can learn about being physically fit all day long. You can learn about the best nutrition in the world, but if you don't do anything with it, it's just like a seed that's just sitting there, not being watered, no sunlight. It's a start. It's a start. I encourage you, for sure, study. It'll motivate you. This knowledge will be like a seed, but that thing has to sprout and grow into an extremely powerful tree. And that means action. Commit to something. If you're only doing 1,000 steps a day, commit to 2,000. If you're already going to the gym 3 times a week for 20 minutes, and you know you could do more, then commit to 30 minutes 4 times a day or whatever you can. If you're real tight, commit to some stretching. If you're not working on your core, working on your arms or your legs, and you're not working on your core, you're not working every single muscle of the whole entire body, then start branching out into other things. Learn different disciplines, learn a new language, learn a musical instrument, read more, learn from more people. This is endless. We have so much time. People think they have such a limited amount of time, but the amount of information and the progress that you can make in such a short period of time, if you're really intentional and determined, is unbelievable. Just look at what people have already done and use them as a guidepost for what you could potentially do. They're an example of what you could do. How was it possible for Martin Luther King to create a wave of change, such a huge wave of change worldwide in such a short period of time? There's several reasons, not just him. Time, place, and circumstance. But he put in a monumental effort, sacrificing so many things, doing the scary, uncomfortable thing. Really admire that a lot. I'm far from it. We're all at our own level. We can all work to get to a better space. All right, have a good one.